Before we get into anything, within these next 8 minutes, I'm going to share a framework that will challenge you. However, if we are successful, then you will have learned a simple framework to help provide better person-centered and trauma-informed supports to neurodivergent persons. I want you to think about the last time you saw someone act out or be inappropriate. Maybe it was a student, a client, a coworker or boss, or maybe it was someone in your own family. They were loud, they were reactive, they weren't following directions, they were touching others without asking first. And if you're being honest, your brain probably went to one of three places. They're being defiant. They're doing this on purpose. They are being inappropriate. Society has been trained to see behavior that way across schools, across mental health systems, across substance use treatment, across jobs. We are trained to respond to behavior, but not always to interpret behavior. And that gap, that's where harm happens. I want to introduce you to a different way of seeing, not softer, not permissive, but more accurate, more human, and more effective. Because here's the reality: some of the behaviors society is trying to correct are not choices in the way society thinks they are. They are responses, they are adaptations, they are regulation attempts. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're sitting in a room. The lights are just a little too bright. There's a faint buzzing sound you can't turn off. Your clothes don't sit right on your skin, and your body feels constant internal pressure. Not pain exactly, but not comfortable either. Now, someone is giving you instructions. You're still expected to sit still, make eye contact, process information, and respond appropriately. How long do you last before your body reacts? Not your attitude, your body. For many neurodivergent persons, including myself, this is daily reality. And when the body becomes overwhelmed, it does what bodies are designed to do: it protects, it communicates, it tries to regulate. But what does regulation look like on the outside? Refusal, avoidance, agitation, shutting down, fidgeting, physical contact like hugs without asking permission first, or asking for these types of physical contacts from strangers or persons we don't know that well. And I say we because that's what dysregulation can look like for me. And these attempts at regulating often are misunderstood by society. And the moment that happens, intent is assigned. But what if those interpretations are wrong? What if the behavior is not a problem to fix, but a regulation attempt to understand? This is where my framework comes in. Assume a century reason. Because when people don't understand what's driving behavior, they fill in the gaps with assumptions anyway. So the question becomes, are those assumptions helping or harming? Assume stands for ask, scan, shift, use, modify, escalate. Ask, what might be driving this? For example, is their body screaming for more tactile input? Do they possibly have a larger personal space bubble than other group members, classmates, coworkers, etc. Are they overwhelmed? Scan, look at environment, sensory input, demands. For example, is it too noisy, too crowded? Are the lights too bright? Are they tense? Are they trying to isolate from the group? Are they having difficulty being still? Is the group running too long without a break? Are they being pushed past what they can handle without a break? Shift from they're just being difficult or they're just choosing to be inappropriate to they might be dysregulated. Provide supports. For example, consent scripts, safe, more appropriate deep pressure tools when unwanted touch happens. Roleplay how to ask for support more effectively. Provide headphones if they are covering their ears. Modify, adjust when something isn't working. For example, offer a quieter space to take exams. Allow edge seating if they struggle with space. Shorten groups or allow more breaks or a pacing zone if sitting still is challenging. Escalate, ensure safety thoughtfully. Remember, there is no shame in asking questions or reaching out to qualified professionals to develop the support network needed. However, at the same time, it can do more harm than good if too many cooks are in the kitchen. When you apply this framework, you start to see patterns. What once looked random starts to make sense. You're no longer fighting the person, you're working with their nervous system. And when people feel understood, behavior often decreases, not because you controlled it, but because you addressed what was underneath it. As we wrap up our time together, I want to leave you with this thought and challenge. Behavior is not always a choice. Sometimes it's communication, sometimes it's protection, and sometimes it's the body asking a question we were never trained to hear. Thank you.